Welcome back to History Recapped, the channel where we explore the epic stories that shaped humanity. Today we embark on a journey spanning over 5,000 years, tracing the rise and fall of one of history's most remarkable civilizations, ancient Egypt, a land of mighty pharaohs, timeless monuments and divine kingship, where life and death, gods and mortals, were bound together by the eternal flow of the Nile River. But our story begins long before the first pyramids or grand temples, long before the names of Tutankhamun, Ramesses and Cleopatra were etched into history. To understand Egypt's greatness, we must first go back, over 7,000 years, to the earliest human settlements along the Nile. Egypt owes its existence to the Nile, the longest river in the world. Each year the Nile would flood its banks, depositing rich black silt across the surrounding lands. The ancient Egyptians called this fertile strip Kemet, meaning the Black Land, contrasting it with the vast surrounding deserts they called Deshret, the Red Land. This annual flooding was predictable, a rare phenomenon in the ancient world. While neighboring regions suffered droughts or destructive floods, the Nile's rhythm allowed for stability. From this, Egypt gained not only food security but also an early sense of cosmic order, what they would later call Ma'at, balance, harmony, and the will of the gods. By around 5000 BCE, small farming villages began to flourish along the Nile Valley. Archaeological sites like Merimde Beni Salame and El Omari reveal evidence of early agriculture, pottery, and simple social hierarchies. People grew wheat, barley and flax, raised cattle and goats, and used reed boats to fish and trade along the river. Over centuries, these settlements evolved into regional chiefdoms, each worshipping its own local gods, creating distinct Proto-Egyptian identities. But Egypt was not yet united. Two distinct regions emerged. Upper Egypt in the south, a narrow strip of fertile land flanked by cliffs and deserts. Lower Egypt, in the north, dominated by the lush Nile Delta, where the river fans into multiple branches before meeting the Mediterranean. This north-south division would shape Egypt's earliest political struggles, setting the stage for the first pharaohs. Before kings and pyramids, Egypt's people explained their world through mythology. They worshipped deities tied to natural forces: the sun, the river, the land, and the afterlife. Among the earliest gods were Ra, the sun god, who sailed his celestial boat across the sky each day; Osiris, god of fertility and the underworld, who taught humans agriculture; Isis, his devoted sister-wife, worshipped for her magic and protection; Horus, the falcon-headed god of kingship, embodying divine authority. These myths weren't just spiritual beliefs. They framed Egypt's political ideology. The king wasn't merely a ruler. He was the earthly embodiment of Horus, maintaining Ma'at, the sacred order of the cosmos. Archaeological finds at Hierakonpolis, one of Upper Egypt's earliest centers, show ceremonial maces, elaborate burials, and artistic depictions of rulers wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt, suggesting powerful proto-kings long before Egypt's unification. As populations grew, so did competition for resources, land, and control of the Nile. By 3200 BCE, powerful leaders began consolidating smaller communities into larger rival kingdoms, a process that would culminate in one of history's most transformative events, the unification of Egypt. Around 3100 BCE, a powerful ruler from Upper Egypt, likely Narmer, also known as Menes, achieved what no one before him had accomplished. He united Upper and Lower Egypt into a single kingdom. The Narmer palette, a carved ceremonial artifact discovered at Hierakonpolis, shows Narmer wearing both the white crown of Upper Egypt and the red crown of Lower Egypt, symbolizing his rule over the two lands. This marks the birth of the first dynasty and the foundation of pharaonic Egypt. Narmer established his capital at Memphis, strategically located where Upper and Lower Egypt met, controlling trade and administration. From here, the earliest pharaohs consolidated power through centralized government, creating a hierarchy of officials to manage taxation, agriculture, and justice. Religious authority, presenting themselves as divine beings chosen by the gods. Military campaigns, extending Egypt's influence into Sinai, Nubia, and the Delta. The early dynastic period laid the groundwork for everything Egypt would become. Hieroglyphic writing evolved into a sophisticated system used to record laws, trade, and religious texts. Massive tombs, called mastabas, were constructed for early pharaohs at Saqqara and Abydos, decorated with intricate carvings depicting daily life: farmers harvesting grain, fishermen hauling nets, artisans crafting jewelry. These images give us a rare glimpse into the lives of common Egyptians during this era. Religion and politics intertwined seamlessly. The pharaoh was both a political leader and a divine priest, responsible for maintaining harmony between gods and humans. This connection to the divine justified their absolute power and mobilized resources for projects of unprecedented scale. By the end of the Second Dynasty, Egypt was ready to enter its Old Kingdom, a period of stability, wealth, and ambition that would produce its most enduring wonders, the pyramids. By the start of the Old Kingdom, Egypt entered an unprecedented period of stability, prosperity, and ambition. The Third Dynasty pharaoh Djeosei transformed Egyptian architecture forever by commissioning the Step Pyramid at Saqqara, designed by his legendary vizier Imhotep, one of the greatest minds of the ancient world, revered later as a god of wisdom and medicine. The Step Pyramid wasn't just a tomb. It symbolized the pharaoh's divine role and Egypt's mastery over chaos and death. Beneath its layers lay vast underground chambers stocked with offerings, treasures, and ritual objects, ensuring Djeose's safe passage into the afterlife. Imhotep's architectural innovations marked a turning point, paving the way for the pyramids to come. The state mobilized resources like never before, harnessing Egypt's wealth, labor, and engineering expertise to glorify the gods and immortalize their kings. The Fourth Dynasty ushered in the peak of pyramid construction, monuments so colossal and enduring that they remain one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. Pharaoh Khufu commissioned the Great Pyramid of Giza, originally rising over 146 meters and composed of more than 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing up to 15 tons. For centuries, scholars have debated how these structures were built, but archaeological evidence suggests tens of thousands of skilled workers, not slaves, labored year-round, supported by a sophisticated supply network of food, tools, and housing. Khufu's successors, Khafra and Menkaure, built their own pyramids nearby, creating the iconic Giza Plateau complex alongside the enigmatic Great Sphinx. To the Egyptians, these were not mere tombs, they were cosmic gateways connecting the mortal realm with the gods and ensuring the pharaoh's eternal life. The sheer scale of these projects reflected Egypt's immense centralized power, capable of mobilizing labor, engineering, and artistry on a level unparalleled in the ancient world. Life during the Old Kingdom wasn't defined only by its monumental pyramids. Beneath the grandeur of the pharaohs, Egyptian society thrived. Farmers cultivated wheat, barley, flax, and papyrus, sustaining a growing population. Artisans crafted exquisite jewelry, furniture, and pottery, supplying the elites and temples alike. Scribes, among the most respected professionals, recorded tax records, laws, and religious texts, preserving knowledge for centuries. Religion infused every aspect of life. Egyptians believed in Ma'at, the cosmic balance upheld by the pharaoh. Temples to gods like Ra, Osiris, and Hathor dotted the Nile, serving as centers of worship, administration, and education. But despite this prosperity, cracks were forming beneath the surface. Over time, the growing power of local governors, nomarchs, strained the pharaoh's authority, setting Egypt on a path towards its first great collapse. By the end of the Old Kingdom, Egypt's centralized power faltered. Prolonged droughts reduced Nile floods, causing widespread famine and economic crisis. Local nomarchs rose in influence, challenging the pharaoh's control. Egypt fractured into competing regional states, plunging the land into over a century of political instability and civil war. Yet even in this chaos, Egyptian culture endured. Tombs and inscriptions from this era show evolving art styles and a growing emphasis on personal piety, individuals seeking salvation beyond the king's divine favor. This cultural shift would shape Egypt's spiritual and political rebirth. Order was restored under Mentuhotep II, who reunified Egypt and founded the Middle Kingdom, a period celebrated as a cultural renaissance. Pharaohs like Senusret III expanded Egypt's influence into Nubia and the Sinai, securing gold mines and trade routes. Fortresses along the southern frontier controlled access to valuable resources. while Egyptian merchants exchanged goods with the Levant and beyond. This era also produced extraordinary literature, like the Tale of Sinuhe, and advancements in art, mathematics, and irrigation engineering. Pharaohs portrayed themselves not as distant gods, but as shepherds of their people, emphasizing justice and prosperity. Yet this stability would be shattered by a powerful new force arriving from the east. Around 1650 BCE, a group of foreign rulers known as the Hyksos seized control of the Nile Delta. Masters of new military technologies, including horse-drawn chariots, composite bows, and advanced metallurgy, they transformed Egypt's warfare forever. For over a century, the Hyksos ruled northern Egypt, while native pharaohs retreated to Thebes in the south. Far from being a complete collapse, this period introduced innovations that would later empower Egypt's rise. In 1550 BCE, Ramesses I launched a series of campaigns that expelled the Hyksos, reunified Egypt, and laid the foundation for its most dazzling era yet, the New Kingdom. The New Kingdom transformed Egypt from a kingdom into a vast empire. Pharaohs like Thutmose III, often called the Napoleon of Egypt, led 17 military campaigns, extending Egypt's borders into modern-day Syria, Palestine, and Sudan. Wealth flowed into Egypt: gold from Nubia, cedar from Lebanon, spices from Punt, and slaves from conquered lands, funding monumental building projects and lavish temples. Pharaoh Hatshepsut, one of the most remarkable figures in Egyptian history, defied tradition by ruling as a female king. Her reign brought stability, prosperity, and ambitious expeditions, immortalized in her stunning mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri. The New Kingdom reached its peak under Ramesses II, known as Ramesses the Great. His reign lasted 66 years and produced some of Egypt's most iconic monuments, including the Ramesseum and the colossal temples at Abu Simbel. Ramesses' most famous battle was at Kadesh against the Hittites in 1274 BCE. Despite a chaotic start, he negotiated the world's first recorded peace treaty, showcasing Egypt's enduring power and diplomacy. Under Ramesses, Egypt enjoyed stability, wealth, and monumental achievements, but this golden age would not last. After Ramesses II, Egypt entered a long decline. Invasions by the Sea Peoples, economic collapse, and dynastic struggles fractured the empire. The Third Intermediate Period saw Libyan dynasties rise, while Nubian kings briefly ruled as Egypt's 25th dynasty. Later, the mighty Assyrians and Persians conquered Egypt, making it part of their empires. Yet, Egyptian traditions persisted, influencing art, religion, and governance even under foreign domination. In 332 BCE, Alexander the Great entered Egypt and founded Alexandria, transforming it into a hub of trade, science, and learning. After his death, the Ptolemaic dynasty ruled, blending Greek and Egyptian traditions. Its most famous ruler, Cleopatra VII, sought to preserve Egypt's independence through alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. But after Antony's defeat at Actium in 31 BCE, Egypt became a Roman province, ending 3,000 years of pharaonic rule. Though Egypt fell politically, its cultural legacy lives on. Greek and Roman art, architecture, philosophy, and religion were deeply shaped by Egyptian ideas. Even today, the pyramids, hieroglyphs, and mysteries of the pharaohs continue to inspire awe. From astronomy to medicine, philosophy to engineering, Egypt's innovations form a cornerstone of human civilization. Ancient Egypt never truly died. It became eternal.